Resident Evil 4 Remake is one of those games where you are in absolute awe the entire time, from start to finish, or until you reach chapter 15, where it feels like you're playing the Resident Evil 8 Chris section, but they end up redeeming themselves with chapter 16. Leon's never looked sexier in all of his 50 appearances. The game looks gorgeous, Luis looks gorgeous, and Ashley as well. She's just still Ashley. My name is Calypso and this video is about why Resident Evil 4 Remake is a masterpiece. So fasten your seatbelts, hold your bioscope close, and let's jump right into it. You could also like and subscribe to the video too. Ashley! The story of the original Resident Evil 4 is one full of camp and comedy gold, filled with hilarious moments and lines.
Little rough, don't you think?
Coming into the remake, Leon still has a sense of humor, but he is more mature.
You have been bestowed with lore settlers. You talk too much. You failed.
He has been tasked with rescuing the president's daughter, Ashley, from a rural part of Europe, where we soon find out it is mind-controlled by a guy called Sadler, who controls these people through a parasite that we get injected with too. While searching for Ashley, we get one of the best tutorial fights where we are tasked to survive the horde of angry villagers, and after doing so, barely, we get one of the best intro lines in gaming history ever.
Where's everyone going? Bingo? He said it! He said it!
Through the story, we meet Luis, who is a self-proclaimed ladies' man, which I'm sad this line did not make in the remake.
You stay here with Leon. He is better with the ladies.
Huh? Luis used to be working for Umbrella, who you know are the people behind Leon's PTSD and everything behind these games. The beginning cutscenes where Leon explains his background and the events of Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite cutscenes of all time, which he seems to more affected by the events of Resident Evil 2 in the remake than the original. But anyways, through some thorough exploration, as I said, we meet Luis Sarah, who is in a body bag in a sealed up basement. After some quick banter, we meet the Big Cheese, or his real name, Nemesis version -2.
Stop it! Cut it out! I have a glandular problem!
Because they could have made him so much more intimidating, like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2.
Fuck! Oh! Sorry for yelling. I forgot about that guy.
But now he's like Nemesis, but where everything with him is scripted, he also talks.
The blood has accepted the gift.
He knocks Leon out and injects him with the Las Plagas parasite. After some more banter with Luis and an epic escape, Leon is now headed towards the church where her Luis is the location of Ashley. A good place to mention this, but Luis created the Las Plagas. He has worked for Umbrella, but now is trying to help Leon to set things right. I think here it's done way better than the original, and Luis is more fleshed out in the Seperate Ways DLC, but more on that later on. We go with Leon to the church to save Ashley from the Los Illuminados, which is the name of this village, or the cult. But before we do all of that, we fight a giant fish on a boat with a harpoon. We free a dog, fight a giant troll named El Gigante. After finally meeting Ashley, we are tasked to help her get to safety, and oh boy. We come to find out Ashley is also infected with the Las Plagas parasite. After escaping some more villagers, we are now in a house trying to outsurvive the horde of villagers who are attacking us with Luis. We are now approaching the castle where we separate with Luis again. By the way, the castle is one of my favorite locations of this game. We meet Sadler's minion, Ramon Salazar.
A most warm welcome to my castle. Such a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance, Mr. Kennedy.
No thanks, bro.
In the castle, Leon shows his John Wick training while being trapped in a tight space. He gets separated with Ashley again. Ashley frees Leon, gets kidnapped again. After getting some advice that Ashley's near the clock tower, Leon approaches Ramon. After quick banter, he is dropped under the castle, where Leon has to overcome an alien-looking creature called the Verdugo, which he does, meeting up with Luis again, where they fight two El Gigantes. Soon after, Luis gets backstabbed, literally, by Leon's mentor, Krauser. You know, the redhead guy in the intro, remember him? After making it out of the castle, we fight Ramon Salazar, who I might add was funnier in the original.
Me llamo Ramon Salazar, the 8th Castellan of this magnificent architecture. I have been honored with the prodigious power from the great Lord Sadler. I've been expecting you, my brethrens.
No thanks, bro.
After killing Ramon, we are once again going after Ashley and Ada. I just remember she's in the game, you know, Leon's will they won't they thingy. She helps Leon get to the factories to help Ashley. And that's the location where they can remove the Las Plagas parasites. After getting there, Leon and Ada go their separate ways. The factory is a place where I like and I also don't like. Major things happen there in the main story. We free ourselves, as I said, from the parasites. We fight regenerators. We fight anime level dialogue Krauser, who is drugged out of his mind with power.
You can't beat me.
You're too soft to do what's necessary. That's the difference between you and me, Rookie.
Where when you do kill him, you get his knife for the rest of the game. And I just stuck with the original knife, FYI, because it was way too OP and I've upgraded to the max. And I didn't want to spend any upgrade money on the knife near the end game. The end of the game is us fighting the Los Illuminados cult leader Osmond Sadler, or with the help of Ada, with a beautiful rocket to the face, followed up with a spear slash to the eye, Sadler is defeated, and hidden in the staff was the Amber. The Amber is a thing that is very important to the whole story of Resident Evil 4 since everybody's after it, because it can help people control the Las Plagas and the people. Ada takes this, and after a quick banter, Ada and Leon go their separate ways. Yet again, leaving the island to blow up thanks to Ada and her bombs, leaving Leon and Ashley to dash for the nearest jet ski to get far away from the explosion. It's revealed that the people infected with this disease are now dying due to their leader Sadler being dead. They make it in time, watch some fireworks, and are off to their way back to the States. But this time Ashley does not make a comment, which Leon would definitely consider bringing up to his HR team when they reach back to the States. In the post-credit scene, it's revealed that Ada is working with her Albert Wesker, but she's a change of heart and decides to not give the Amber to him. Because with Wesker's plan, billions of people could die, and that's the end. And I know I kind of brushed over many things, but it's a long game, and my fingers weren't able to write so many words without this video being 1 hour plus or taking 6 months to make. This game is 16 hours long, and it's filled with many lore and funny Easter eggs, but if I was asked to rate this game solely on its story, I would rate it 8.5, and the reason for it is it's kind of being held back by some of the villains.
Such a fool, Mr. Kennedy.
The game is filled with them. The first bad guy we get to fight against is the Big Cheese himself, who is tall, has 2 different eye colors, is also strong like Mr. X, but not as intimidating, as I said before, and is this town's priest. I thought they had a missed opportunity to where they could add some more sections where he stalks Leon around the village. I know this wasn't a huge thing in the original, but only a man wish for some of these things. His boss fight was also nice. It had a rhythm to it where you run around, wait for him to do an attack, and you shoot him, and the explosive barrels he picks up. I know you could shoot his legs now, or the tentacle things that he holds himself up, but I thought you only had to wait for the explosive barrels, and that boss fight took me like 15 tries or something, less than that. But it was all around a decent fight, and it still holds up, and I really enjoyed it. Also, the cutscene and everything was pretty enjoyable. Also, Leon said this. Then Ramon, as I mentioned earlier, a critique I could give the game is for not having those breaks between gameplay where you talk with the villains in the radio and build up their character more, just like in the original. But what we had was enough for me. We know that this is Sadler's loyal servant. In his fight, he goes around the map. He can spit acid, spit out little balls that explode in acid. Once you get near them, pretty much you need to pay attention on a lot of it. But as any Resident Evil boss, the weak spot is usually the glowing eye. Wish we had the cutscene where Leon throws a knife in his hand.
Not to worry. We've prepared a special ritual for you.
or when after Leon gets dropped under the castle, Leon just shoots the speaker, causing him to freak out.
Where's the satisfying sound of one's impalement?
Won't fall for this old trick.
How dare you! No more games! Kill him!
But after that, we have Jack Krauser, who has 2 fights in this game. The first fight, as I said, backstabs Luis. The second fight is him in his ultra power form, where he has blades for hands. I like the second stage. It starts off very slow and simple. You run around the castle, he has set traps for you. Then it goes very creepy where you're in a dark place where you can't see where he is. He appears behind you. Basically, just wait for the sound prompts and stuff. You have to pay again a lot of attention. As I mentioned before, I didn't like Krauser's voice acting. I think the original did it better. This guy just seems like a anime level villain level dialogue. No hate to the guy who voiced him, but all around it just felt like Leon was speaking someone like a real guy, and we have Krauser who was just like an anime villain on steroids, which no hate to the guy voice actor again, but yeah, that was lacking. And the knife fight in the first stage, I'll mention that. It was pretty fun. You can parry, you can kick. The animation was great. Everything was great. Luis's death again was made way better here than in the original. Then we have the big bad Osmond Sadler, the guy every enemy mentions before dying. He looked cool, and his end form was pretty much insane. This brother looked like a scorpion or spider, or one of those two mixed in together. The actor's performance was good. He sounded like a deranged cult leader who was ready to achieve what he was after. His boss had nice attacks, and it had the standard Resident Evil boss mechanics where you had to shoot the eye to do damage. But I did end up choosing this fight with a rocket launcher because I had enough cash to buy it for the final fight. And again, wish we had some radio cutscenes to flesh out his character even more like in the original games.
I have an idea. Since you're here, why don't I introduce you to it? It should keep you busy.
Can't remember the name, huh? A senior moment, perhaps.
Oh. Enjoy the fun.
But what we had was kind of enough for me to be satisfied. He was a very good villain. Same thing in the Separate Ways. You fight him again in the Separate Ways. He was pretty cool in the Separate Ways, and pretty kind of challenging because he moved around everywhere, had nice attacks, pretty cool. Again, this game in gameplay form, which I'll talk in later, is pretty good. It's rare for a game to have this good and engaging gameplay than the others. But enough about the villains, let's see about the other characters. Good people, or somewhat good people. In this game, we have a multitude of good characters in moral speaking sense. We have Agent Hunnigan, whom Leon doesn't flirt with anymore, and is just straight here for business.
Hunnigan, is that you?
Finally, the line's jack free.
Hey, Hunnigan, no glasses.
Forget the glasses. What's the status of the mission?
I've rescued the subject. We're returning home.
You did it, Leon.
Thanks. You know, you're kind of cute without those glasses. Give me your number when I get back.
She acts as a guide, telling us what we should do and where we should go, and she is a good assistance. We also report to her on our progress with Ashley. Then we have Mike, the pilot guy. God, I hated that part, but I have to admit he was a badass. He was there to assist Leon to get him inside the factories and help Ashley, but bro dies to the enemies that literally take 3 hits to kill. I was sad to see him die. He seemed like a fun guy, but I saw it a mile away. I knew he was gonna die the moment he appeared on the screen. Then we have Luis Sierra, everybody's favorite character in this game, who in my opinion is more fleshed out in this one than in the original. And his death felt more sad, and he was pretty fun to be around. I was happy for most portions of the game to have him around. He was fun, charismatic, he also had good intentions. As I mentioned before, he was working for Umbrella and Sadler, and that experience has messed him up, and now he wants to redeem himself, and that he did. After his death in this game, and in the original, it made things more serious. Not that there wasn't any funny moments after, but Luis was a true bro from start to finish. And if I didn't mention the merchant in this section, then I would probably be hanged, because he's also a bro. As his name suggests, he's the merchant of this game, and he sells weapons, weapon upgrades, materials, and recipes for things for you to craft. And you can trade treasures you find along the adventure. The thing that I will talk about later about that is mixed in with the merchant is the shooting range. It has improved upon the original epically. Now we have Ashley. Ashley is still the helpless girl you were sent after in this game. You do have dialogue outside of the cutscenes, which is pretty cool, and there are more emotional and impactful scenes in the story with her than in the original. It was sad we didn't get to see her run into a wall where she gets trapped and the wall just rotates.
You alright?
I'm fine! Leave me alone!
Ashley, wait! Ashley!
What's going on?
Don't worry, Ashley. I'm coming for you.
We also do get to play as Ashley in the story mode, and it made you feel somewhat like Resident Evil 2, where you're a normal guy or girl, depending on what you chose, and you aren't a military soldier who has the best haircut of all time. But unlike Resident Evil 2, you don't have a shotgun, a grenade launcher to defend yourself. You only have a lantern that stuns the enemies, but as soon as you rotate, they come back to life and start moving again. As little as it was, we did get to feel helpless, and we wanted to get Ashley to safety, even though she gets kidnapped 15 seconds later after freeing Leon. Truth be told, I did kill her once while trying to save her by accident. I shot her head in instead of shooting a guy in a black robe, okay?
Ooh, yes, perfect.
Got you now, bitch. Yeah, you are so mine. So much easier to take you out from far away. Okay. Absolutely nothing is gonna stand in my way.
What do you see, Leon?
It was pretty funny, I died of laughter. Then another character we get to play is Ada Wong.
Try using knives next time.
The Separate Ways DLC is a very good DLC. The story of the DLC goes alongside the main story of the game, but instead of Leon, you play with Ada, and let's address the damned elephant out of this Ganato's house. I don't like the voice actress of Ada.
You? Leon S. Kennedy. You haven't changed. You just think you have.
She seems disinterested in pretty much anything in the game. I don't know if that was the director's choice or what, but whatever it was, nobody deserves death threats or things like this due to their performance in a video game. The main complaint people had with this game was the U3 and the laser sequences being cut out of this game, but they did put them back in this DLC, and truth be told, I wish we had a shot at fighting the U3 boss with Leon, but still getting them in this was still awesome enough. Also a fun thing in this DLC, we finally find what happened with Leon's jacket, and it was stolen by a random Ganato, which you can complete a task or a bounty, whatever they're called, and sell it to the merchant to earn some spinels. Wesker shows up in person in the DLC, which I didn't expect, although I thought we would only see him through the calls in the game, but that was pretty cool. The Verdugo that turns into the U3, I was told and blatantly lied by some internet reviews that he was like a stalker from Mr. X, and my dumbass thought, hey, we're gonna get chased around the castle, but it turns out it was just scripted sequences. It has boss battles, which are pretty enjoyable, but other than that, I was expecting Mr. X level stalking, not just we get stalked on scripted places. But going back to the story for this DLC, it's all about how Ada teams up with Louise to get the Amber, but she gets infected by the same parasite as Leon and Ashley, but this time it wasn't some needle to the neck, it was the U3 in disguise. And the story mode shows how Ada and Leon's path gets intertwined, and we also get to throw Mr. America, the rocket he uses to finish off Sadler. And there was a fun little line referencing the events or the ending of Resident Evil 2.
Oh, déjà vu. We'll call it even.
I got this DLC for €8 on the Steam Winter Sale, and man was it worth it. It was a solid DLC full with enjoyable moments in gameplay. But speaking about the gameplay, after playing Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, I've got to say that Resident Evil 4 has the best gameplay of all of them. Not only can you crouch, but you can also parry with your knife, which isn't infinite. It can break unlike the original, where the main strat was you just headshotting a random ganado, and while it's stunned, you go and hit them with a kick and then slash them with your knife repeatedly. But in this one, you can try to do that, but your knife has durability and you'll risk breaking it for sections you need it. This game, based only on its gameplay, is spectacular because guns feel fun to use. The ammo for the powerful weapons isn't easy to come across, like the TMP or the handgun. The guns, as mentioned before, you upgrade them by the merchant. If you want more powerful shotgun shots, or if you want longer magazines in your rifle, the merchant has it all. Also, while we are speaking for gameplay and the merchant, this game has requests you can complete, like shooting blue medallions, killing rats, or fighting a gold knight, which is stronger than the other knights, I think. As a reward, you get spinels, which are a currency used for trading, where you can get the final upgrade card for your weapon, case attachments, and you can get gems that are missing for your treasure. Treasure is one of the biggest ways you make money in this game. You can find gems around chests, or if you kill really hard enemies, they can drop some, and it was pretty cool finding a gem that finally fits in the crown, which you can sell for 100 pestas, which is the currency in this game. And as I mentioned earlier, the merchant has a shooting range where you can lose a lot of hours in it because it's so damn fun. But having Ashley there did make me lose a lot because she was annoying and her smart comments on my thumb game were pissing me off. I'm trying my best, bitch, calm down. Doing good in the game mode will reward you with tokens you can use in a machine, and depending on your RNG, you might get a good attachment where you can either get fully healed with a chicken egg, or a bad attachment where all life upgrades are cheaper. I am joking. Also, a gun I wanted to talk about that wasn't in the original but was in this one, and it's the bolt launcher. It's pretty sweet, helps you save a lot of ammo, and you can attach mines to it that can explode a group of enemies. I did end up selling this gun early on, but I did appreciate the service it offers, and it was pretty damn useful. Once you realize that the bolts are retrievable, except the ones that have mines on them that explode, for obvious reasons. But while on the topic of best guns, I will have to mention the rifles, not the automatic one. I sold it off because it mowed down my ammo real quick. Instead, I used the ones which are similar to sniper rifles. It felt so satisfying hitting a headshot and seeing the enemy's heads burst open. If you're skilled enough, then this gun is definitely the best one. In terms of gameplay, in this section, the enemies you fight do come into play. You have the regular ganados who have rakes, crossbows, shovels, knives, and those sorts of things. They're easy to kill. They don't impose much of a challenge if they're not in a big group, because when they're in a group they can hold you, grab you, which none of those attacks are parryable. Also a cool thing, some of these random ganados, when you do headshot them, their heads turn into worms, which are pretty much more aggressive. In the castle we do have the hooded ganados who have shields, sights, freaking bowling clubs or whatever they're called, and they do allow you to dodge in a cool way. We have the Garradors who are blind. They do listen to your movement or your weapons depending on where you shoot. Their weak spot is their back, which holds a parasite, but my favorite of these is the Regenerator. To be able to kill them, you'll need the special scope you find in their area in the lab. The trick with them is to use the bioscope to pinpoint the location of the parasite, which you can easily shoot. If you shoot them blindly, they'll regenerate. Yes, they might lose a limb or a face, but they will regenerate. And they are pretty aggressive. They do have a variant called the Iron Maiden, which is full of spikes and is more aggressive. And I am missing out some enemies, but I did like the bug ones, the little scorpion looking things that do jump on the Ganado's backs, which make them infinitely more aggressive. But as in the Red Dead Redemption video, it's not all sunshine and glory. Being a remake, there will be cut content due to the content either not fitting in with the tone of the new game, or just being cut off place, or it sucked in the original and then it didn't include it in this one. As mentioned before, I wish some of the voice acting could have been tuned up a bit to match the other characters, where other characters have enthusiasm, the others don't, or the other ones are just outside of Resident Evil. They're in a completely different anime or universe or whatever. But again, no death threats needs to be handed towards these people. Some people might have enjoyed them, but I find them iffy, and I didn't like their performances, but they are passable. Still wish that some of the iconic lines still made a cut in this one, and still having the radio chats with the villains would have been nice. I didn't like chapter 15 because it made things too easy, as before focusing on somewhat on stealth and picking on my targets one by one or in a group. In chapter 15 it felt like being thrown in a battlefield, which was enjoyable, but I'm not used to my Resident Evil games not being a one-man army against a zombie or infected creatures. That section felt like a soldier against an army. But after all the negatives I have mentioned throughout the video, when the story is combined with the gameplay and the mechanics, the soundtrack with the setting, all the negatives go away. This game knows when and how to set the mood for you to feel fear. It also knows when to make you chuckle or feel on edge. Or make you feel sad as you see your bro drawing his final breath. I guess in conclusion, this game is a masterpiece, and not just in a gaming aspect, but in the Resident Evil verse as well. If Capcom knows how to improve upon the shooting, the combat, the scary elements, they can dish out even more bangers like this one. But when being asked if this game is as good as the original Resident Kung Fu Panda for the Xbox 360, then the question is in itself blasphemous.